Hey everyone, how's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's having a good night. I'm looking forward to tonight's event. I want to give everybody a chance to get on, but I'm just excited that technology is actually working out for us tonight, and I was able to reach you guys without having too many issues and all of that stuff. One of the questions is how long is tonight's session going to last? I'll probably talk for about 45 minutes about some of the stuff that I have prepared, but then it will be probably, I'll make sure I stick around till at least the top of the hour, so another 15 minutes or so to do questions that anybody has or anything like that. So again, looking forward to it. Just give me a minute or two to get everybody on, and we'll get the Hangout started. Everybody able to see me? Looks like it's working fine, but I just want to make sure everybody can see what's happening. I know, right? It's actually working. How cool is that? Awesome, awesome. All right, well, I'm going to give it another minute or so, and then we'll start rocking and rolling. All right, well, I'll get this thing going. There'll always be a replay, so definitely feel free to check those out later. Again, glad to be here with you all tonight. My topic tonight is one of my favorite topics in the world. I want to talk to you all about partnerships and how important they are to a real estate business, and really any endeavor that you take on. When you have a partner, things are a little bit easier, hopefully. I guess it always comes back to having the right partner. A couple of questions that I get over and over and over again, especially by a lot of new investors, and I know a handful of you guys are fairly new to the investing world, is tell me about your first deal, and how do I get started? How do I build my power team? What is a partnership? How can I make that work? How do I find partners? All of that. So I'm going to try to address all of those questions to tonight's hangout. So I love to give kind of my knowledge via telling stories. So that's how I'd like to just start out is I'd like to start out by just telling you about my first deal that I ever did, that Chip and I did when we were getting started in real estate. I guess I should say our first successful deal. Some of you guys know our story. A little bit of it is that Chip and I tried doing real estate on our own, made some terrible mistakes, thought we knew better, speculated. So I know there's speculators in today's market, but scares the heebie-jeebies out of me because of my past experiences and how that's worked out for us. So I'm always conscious of that and careful to avoid speculation going forward. Needless to say, Chip and I made a lot of mistakes. We had substantial debt built up. We're discouraged, beat down, and that's something that everybody can feel, especially when you're new starting out. The discouragement and frustrations are a lot bigger than the rewards starting out. That's just the fact of actually anything that you do. You just think of even starting the last job that you did. The first month or so on the job probably sucked. It's not a nice way to put it, but it's reality. The reality is whenever you're trying to do something new, start something new, move forward with anything that's different, new, something that you've not experienced before, it's going to be a challenge. There's always going to be a challenge to it. So be aware that a lot of that's what you're going through. Needless to say, Chip and I got some education, learned what we needed to do to move forward, and so I will tell you the best tool that you have when it comes to investing in real estate is harnessing your enthusiasm, using that to motivate yourself to go forward. Okay, so that's the best recommendation I can give you all is use your enthusiasm to move you forward. So what I mean by that is our very first deal that we did, we actually had some friends and family were getting together for a family barbecue. We were getting together with some group of friends, and we were at a barbecue. And we were telling everybody that we're getting into this real estate investing thing and how cool it was and how it was going to change our lives and all that. At this point in time, all we've done is made mistakes. However, we started learning knowledge, taking those little pieces, and every time you learn something new, you start adding to your knowledge base, and you can start using that to move yourself forward, okay? The building blocks, building blocks, everybody needs them to get to wherever you want to go. So we were telling everybody how cool it was, and the stuff we're learning, how exciting it is, all of that. Awesome. Stoked, thought it was great, thought it was exciting, telling everybody about it. And actually, our friends who were hosting the barbecue pulled us aside and said, hey, would you guys mind sticking around, like, after everybody goes? There's some things we want to talk to you about. I'm like, okay, we all have kids and whatever. I thought, well, maybe they're wanted to ask something about the kids and sharing schedules or something like that. I don't know. And so I was like, yeah, sure, we'll hang out. We'll help clean up, whatever. Well, apparently his job, she had a job. It was kind of just an office job. It was a decent enough job, but nothing fabulous. And he was a handyman. Well, in 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, things were going great. He was getting job after job after job. Had no problem financially. Well, 2007 rolls around and the economy is a little bit different, right? So he's not getting the work that he was getting before. The economy's starting to take that turn and things are slowing down. Their income level is definitely feeling that. So they decide that they're going to move to be closer to family. So they go to sell their house, and the realtor that they reach out to tells them, well, your house isn't worth what you want to get out of it. And they're like, well, what are we going to do? And they're like, rent it, but to rent it, they wouldn't get enough money of what they owed to it, all this. And that's a discouraging situation. So their thought was, well, I guess our only real option is to walk away from it. We can't keep making the payments. So they just stopped making payments, started, putting money away for their move and things like that, and just didn't make any more payments. So of course the pre-foreclosure process, the notice of default process, starts on their house. And they're like, okay, so we've been in this situation for a while. They're going to probably foreclose on us in less than 6 months. Is there anything you guys can do to help? And my husband's like the most enthusiastic human being on earth. He just gets excited about stuff. He's like, yeah, absolutely, we'll totally help you out. And I'm a little bit more like the doer, the practical, the whatever. And I'm like, yeah, we'll find a way to help you out. I have no idea how, but sure, we'll figure it out. Why not? So we go home and we called our mentor and our coach and said, hey, what are we supposed to be doing? What do we need to do? And he said, well, have you found anybody that would be interested in a house like that? We're like, maybe. So what did I do? I got on Craigslist. I started combing Craigslist, and anybody who said they were looking for houses, might be interested in houses, and we just started blasting out emails. One of the individuals that I sent an email to said that he pays referral fees of 10% of whatever his profit on leads the deals that people bring to him. So I got a hold of him, we talked, and we told him about where our friend's house is, and he asked the condition, all that. I said, oh, no, it's in good shape. They've taken great care of it. It's nice. It's a good neighborhood, all of that. But they, it's just not worth what they owe. And he goes, well, if they're open to it, I can negotiate a short sale. He goes, the reality is they're already going through a foreclosure process, so their credit's already going to be messed up anyway. So a short sale will hurt their credit, but probably not any worse than it wouldn't be any worse than a full foreclosure if that's the process they're going to end up taking. Would you mind setting up a meeting with them? And I said, yeah, absolutely. But again, I am desperate. I am broke. I'm in a bad situation. And I've never been afraid to ask. I never lost that thing about being a little kid where you just try to negotiate your pants off. So I said, well, here's the deal. I would love to set up a meeting. I'll actually even go and help you introduce our friends, help everything go more comfortable and all that. But this is a great deal. So honestly, we're going to need 20% instead of 10%. And I had to do everything to just do some deep breathing and all that to let him respond. Whoever speaks first loses, right? So anyway, the guy says, you know what, if the house is in as good a shape as they are and the people are willing to work with me and help me out with this, then absolutely I'll pay you 20%. So long story short, we did a bird dog agreement with him, so we had a partnership deal with him to an extent where we passed along the deal. After he negotiated the short sale, found an end buyer, his profit was $22,000. So 20% of that was $4,400 that was given to my husband and I for really just helping out some friends. And so honestly, even though that's my first deal, I also consider that my first introduction to partnerships. The reality is that we could work together. Somebody else who's an investor, I could think of them as competition, or I could think of them as a partner. First time we worked together. So that was a really cool experience. Again, we also made money, and let me tell you, $4,400 is like the best feeling in the world when you're trying to figure out how to cover minimum payments on credit cards and credit lines and all of that. So again, that was the first story of our first deal. And again, $4,400, a lot of times people don't think about it as this amazing amount of money. It didn't solve all of our problems, but It gave me the confidence, the belief, and the knowledge that I can move forward. And there's other people out there that are happy to work with me, happy to help me understand, help me learn, help me grow my business. I don't have to do it all on my own. So that was pretty cool. So let me ask you, what are partners? Okay, they're asking me if I can slow down. Okay, I'll see if I can slow down a little bit. I get a little eager or a little excited, so I will try to talk a little slower if that helps for you all. Partners come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. They could be your significant other, a family member, a sister, a brother, a mom, or a dad, a kid, somebody who you're getting into this business with. So that's more of a permanent business partner. And there's also friends and family, like our friends actually brought us our first deal, and they didn't probably even see themselves as bringing their first deal to us. They saw themselves as somebody that needed help, and we were a solution. And that's one thing I want you to always think about. People sometimes have negative connotations to real estate investors. They think they're taking advantage of people. And the reality is that's not true. The reality is we're people that are here to help solve problems. Our friends were going through a tough situation. We were there to help them out. It could be other acquaintances. It could be people that you meet at a local REI club meeting. It could be other local investors, people that you're going to put on your power team. I mean, honestly, your realtor can be considered a partner to some extent, right? Your property managers, your attorney, all those people that can help you work forward have some sort of a partnering relationship with you. It might not just be a strictly defined partnership, okay? Money partners, those are huge things that I love to talk about as money partners. Who out there can I utilize their funds to help grow my business and help them make a return on their money and then make a profit along the way, right? So there's all kinds of different partners out there that you can explore. And I think the main idea of it is think about who out there can help you move yourself forward. And the reality is that we all need help, no matter what it is in our regular life. Maybe it's at your regular job. You usually have somebody who's somewhat of a partner for you that maybe covers for you when you go on vacation, covers for you when you're out sick. You know, somebody that helps you at various times and you help them at various times, right? So there's always going to be somebody in your life that can help you out, okay? The other thing that I want to add is, you know, kind of going back to any aspect of life. I always use the example of going on an exercise plan or a new diet, right? Okay, so we're going to take on a new challenge. I'm going to start getting up and going to the gym every single morning before I go to work. Because honestly, that's where I have time. At the end of the day, I'm exhausted. I need family time at home. I got to get dinner on the table. I got errands to run, kids have activities, whatever it is. During the day, I have to work. Some of you are still working a current job. So you're like, okay, I need to start working out. You know, the best way to ensure that you will show up at the gym is have a friend meet you there. Because if you just set your alarm and say, hey, I'm going to get up and go to the gym tomorrow, that snooze button is way too easy to hit, right? So that being the case, you want to make sure that you can get a partner to come with you. You know, if you have somebody that's going to meet you there, not somebody from your house that you can talk out of it, right? If it's my husband, I can say, you know what, let's just go tomorrow. Let's just go tomorrow. But if my girlfriend's driving to meet me there, I will go up because, frankly, I do not want to let her down, where I might be okay with letting myself down. Does that make sense? Okay. So one great place to start out by potentially finding buyers is your local real estate investment club. All right? Local real estate investment club. All right, just checking. I apologize that the connection doesn't seem to be going. It looks like it's good on my end, so I don't know if it's people's individual end or not. So again, the replay will broadcast, and a lot of times those go a little bit smoother. So hopefully that'll work out for you. Okay. So I'm very, very, very passionate about finding partners, especially for the real estate investment business, is that real estate investment clubs. A couple reasons why I like to go to real estate investment clubs, or encourage you to, even if you have to drive away. So a lot of times only once a month or so. So honestly, if you can't make a commitment to once a month to attend some sort of meeting, chances are you're not going to be able to make the commitment to this anyway, okay? So something that's really important that I want you guys to try to make a commitment to. First reason why is there's like-minded people at real estate investment club meetings. There's other investors. There's people that work with investors, title companies, attorneys, lenders, all kinds of different people, property managers, all kinds of people that might be at these real estate investment club meetings that you could potentially work with. And not only that, straightforward investors, people that you can partner on deals with, all right? So I want you to definitely attend these. The other reason, other than finding partners and building your power team, is a great reason why I recommend you attend REI Club meetings. Number two is you can get the latest information about what's going on in today's market. What's happening in today's market? What's going on out there in the economy? What is taking place? What is going to be making things happen, right? So as new laws change, as new regulations come out, as issues start coming up in your market, as things trend one way or the other, it is a great place for you to try to find them, to try and connect with people, to try to grow your business and your knowledge base. And again, if other people have made mistakes, this might be a great place for you to help learn from those mistakes, right? So definitely that's a great reason why I want you to start attending REI Club meetings, okay? So for the purpose of growing your power team, okay? From there, I want to tell you another story about, again, I like to tell stories to get my points across. Another story I want to tell you is about a connection that we made via a friend of a friend. My husband's brother, they both went to school and grew up here in Denver. And one of his brother's friends from high school we ran into, and we kind of knew who he was, and my husband knew who he was because he was friends with his brother at one point in time. And casually asked what we were doing and all that. And it was kind of one of those, hey, how you doing, grocery store conversations where you're like, hey, we should get together, but nobody ever actually gets together kind of thing. Well, it turns out that we are telling him that we're doing real estate investing and how we're always looking for great deals and properties and connections that way. And if he knows of anything, please let us know. So that being the case, he said, yeah, absolutely. Actually, I work for a hedge fund. And what we do at the hedge fund is we buy non-performing notes or non-performing assets, meaning houses. So they either buy loans or actual houses that are in the foreclosure process, things that are behind on payments, so non-performing, not great properties. And they work on foreclosing them because they buy them in bulk, they get a great deal. However, some places things move easily and some places things don't. They had connections with realtors, so the houses that were in good shape, it was easy for them to put right back on the market. And some of those houses, the dirty, gross, smelly houses that have been beat up and destroyed, those houses are really hard to put back in the market, especially when the economy is down. So remember, this is back in probably 2009, 2010, when the economy wasn't fabulous and people weren't getting hungry or getting excited about ugly houses unless they were a real estate investor and they could get the right price. So he said some of those houses we just want to dump. So we can sometimes get them at a good price, and especially if we don't have to pay realtor commissions, I might be able to get you some deals. So how cool is this? Again, taking that enthusiasm that I was talking about from the beginning and bringing that into conversation. So whatever it is that you do, that's not, for your day job, that's not what you're doing, and that's not what you're up to. So if anybody should ask my husband, who still works his job, what he does, or what's going on with him, he says, oh, I'm a real estate investor. We've got 22 properties. We're in 12 different markets. We're doing deals all the time. We've got a couple of fix and flips going right now. That's what he will tell them, even though he's not even really managing those that much. He's not a pension defined benefit plan administrator, whatever the heck he is. He does. I should know, I know, but it's boring, so I zone out. Anyway, he lets people know because you know what? He's actually found some of our private money lenders by talking about what we're doing with confidence, excitement, and enthusiasm. And I'm going to talk about private money in a little bit again, because that's another great partnership opportunity. So anyway, we built a relationship with him. I took him out to lunch, talked about what we're looking for, found out that he has deals all over the place. And because of that, he said that he could start sending us deals, including like a CMA or a BPO, which is a competitive market analysis or a broker's price opinion of what the house is worth in its current condition, what it could be worth fixed up, and then kind of like all the data that you would get from an MLS listing for these properties, because these are not on the market. The hedge fund actually owns these properties. So just a friend of a friend who's kind of a casual acquaintance that we hadn't actually, my husband hadn't seen in years, ran into him somewhere and we were able to make this connection. Now, just like any other partnership, you don't just instantly bond, right? You need to invest some time. You need to invest some time with them and some energy. And so we did get a couple deals from him that we were able to do a double close on in Minnesota. So we did a double close on 2 properties in Minnesota that we got from his company. And it was kind of like the test run. If these deals go well, you might be able to move forward with passing on some more properties. But these properties were, out in the middle of nowhere, not necessarily anywhere that was a hot market and things like that. So we had to work our butts off to move those houses, but we moved them. And they were happy. They made a profit. We made a profit. Everybody was happy. And again, that's kind of the whole point of wholesaling, right? So again, this one, the partnership's not with another investor. This partnership's with a company. Well, when we closed this deal, shortly after that, here in Colorado, we're big into Cinco de Mayo. It's a very, very big fun holiday around here. So what we did for that hedge fund office is when Cinco de Mayo came, Chipotle was started here in Colorado. So what we did was got a Chipotle catering, like taco bar, burrito bar for the office. We shelled out $200, $300 to pay for this. And it was like the best investment we ever made to grow that partnership. Everybody in the office who didn't even know who we are or whatever deals that we work with thought we were the greatest ever. And again, think of it this way. We spent, let's say, $250. And on those 2 wholesale deals, we made a heck of a lot more money than that. And then the deals going forward, we made a heck of a lot more money. But that little investment of building that relationship, which is really what partnerships is, right? Partnerships are relationships, right? What I really want to say though is really invest time. Anytime you want a partnership, number one, you have to invest the time, and it's gonna take time up front. The other thing that I want to bring up to you regarding partnerships is everybody has to contribute. It can't be a one-sided partnership. So some of you that are new, every now and then I get approached by somebody who's brand new to investing, doesn't know a thing about it, never read anything, whatever. They just decided that they think it would be cool to invest in real estate. They watch some shows on HGTV. They're like, hey, can we partner up on a deal? And my response is, do you have a bunch of money? Well, no, I don't have any money. And I'm like, all right, what are you going to bring to a table? Now, I'm not saying all partnerships have to be exactly equal, because that's not really how partnerships work, frankly. Even in a marriage relationship partnership, it's not 100% equal, right? It's not, somebody sometimes has to give a little bit more to make things work. But the reality is you need to bring something to the table. Make sure that whenever you're going to approach somebody about being a partner, make sure you bring something to the table. Make sure that you're going to contribute something to the situation, okay? It's very important to keep in mind, all right? So make sure that you have something to offer. Make sure that you have something that they're going to want out of the situation to move yourself forward. And maybe it's time. Maybe it's, hey, you know what? I would love to do a lot of the legwork. You tell me exactly what to do. I'll invest the time and the energy, and then we can work something out that way. And I think that's a fun and healthy partnership, but make sure that you have something to offer when you're going to approach somebody in a partnership, okay? All right, so I want to talk now, I'm going to tell another little story. This is a story about a deal that I actually got from the hedge fund. It's from, they brought me a deal that they got for a town called Murfreesboro, which if you read it, I'd never heard of Murfreesboro. It's a suburb of Nashville in Tennessee. When they sent over the BPO, it looked like Murfreesboro. And I was like, Murfreesboro? I don't know what that is. Come to find out it's Murfreesboro. But anyway, I get this lead of this property, and I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about Nashville, Tennessee. I visited there once and went to the Grand Ole Opry, and that's all I got. That's all I've got. But I was like, still, I'm not ever going to turn down a good deal. And the hedge fund was always really clear, saying, hey, it could be worth about 130, 135 fixed up. We need to break even on this, or to get our profit to our base prices. We're willing to give it to you at $70,000. I'm like, okay, great. Let's write up the contract, $70,000. I can't promise anything. I don't have any contacts right now in Tennessee, but if you give me a couple weeks, I'll see what I can do to make this property go away for you at $70,000. So again, because I invested my relationship with this bank or with this hedge fund, I could be really open with them about what it is that I was going to do, that I wasn't necessarily going to be the one to buy any of these properties. So that being the case, I got on a couple networking sites. One of my favorites is deangraziosi.com. And I got on there and I came across a girl who's I've been following around a little bit. Her name is Louisa Clary. And she's in Nashville, and she was talking about getting going with real estate. She was mainly going to be doing some fix and flips and things like that. But she was very active in her investment club and things like that. So I thought, great, this is a suburb of Nashville. Maybe she'll have a lead or a buyer that should be interested. So I reached out to her. We exchanged information. I sent her the property, and I said, here's the deal. Can you market this to anybody that you think might be a potential buyer for this property? Advertise it at $80,000. I have it locked up at 70. See if you can sell it for 80. If you can sell it for 80, I get 5,000 and you get 5,000. Not a bad situation, right? Now again, I had a contact, so I easily got the property. I didn't really even have to work for it. The hedge fund gave it to me and said, if you can sell it at this, as long as we get this much money, I don't care what you do with it, right? So I didn't have to work that hard because of that partnership. I reached out to Lisa and I tried to make contact with her, and we started building our relationship. She puts it out to her buyers that she's built a relationship with. And one of them, she actually, I think it was within an hour or two, she got back to me and she was like, actually, I do have a buyer. He really, really wants it, which is the good news. The bad news is he only wants to pay $76,000. So since you did most of the work and I just pretty much sent out an email to my buyers, I'll take $1,000 and you can take the $5,000 that you wanted. And I was like, really? I didn't do as much work as you think I did because I built a relationship. I invested up front. You've invested in a relationship with this individual. Sell it. I'll send over the paperwork to him. Give me his contact information. I'll send over the paperwork for the assignment of contract for $76,000. So $70,000 on the purchase, then $6,000 for the assignment, and we'll each take $3,000 on the assignment. I got it set up with the attorney in Tennessee to do the closing, and her buyer was able to get a great deal on a property. The hedge fund was happy because I got to move a property in less than a month. That was a headache for him. And Louisa and I, just by building relationships and partnerships with people, were able to make $3,000 each. So again, it was a fabulous opportunity for us to connect, fabulous opportunity for us to truly have a great relationship and make things happen. So again, it was a great deal. And again, win, 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 win. I mean, the bank won, the end buyer won, Louisa and I each won. And again, it was a great opportunity to work together. Okay. So let me just take a second and talk to you a little bit about how you handle the paperwork for a partnership deal like that, right? So when I was working with the hedge fund, I wrote up a contract for me, or meaning my company, to buy the property for them. I just did a straight, regular purchase contract, a generic one that you can find right here on Insider Elite. You can find agreements right there, right? So I had the property locked up, if you will. She put it out to her buyers. Now again, she couldn't take the property without including me because I had it locked up. The property belonged to me, right? So a couple different ways you can do it. Because of the relationship I had with this bank, I probably could have rewrote the purchase contract and added Louisa straight to the purchase contract, right? So that's one option, is to have Louisa and I as the buyers in the purchase contract, and then do an assignment of contract. Then if I do the assignment of contract, if Louisa says whatever that profit is on the assignment of contract, which was the $6,000, you would assume would be split 50-50, correct? Personally, I didn't do that because it seemed like an extra step to have to re-inconvenience the hedge fund. And again, I was concerned about my relationship with them because they were allowing me to continue to make money, right? So that being the case, I wanted to make sure that I handled how things are going and all of that. So what I did is I kept my original purchase agreement with me buying it. And then what I did is on the assignment of contract, I used a standard assignment of contract. If you go to Insider Elite under the library, I think it's letters and docs or something like that, under the library section, it's the last item. There's all kinds of templates and contracts and things like that that you can use on there. So I recommend doing that, but there's a very simple assignment of contract that you can use. And this is very similar to what they have on there. I'm going to try to see if I can get it so the light's good. And what I did here is I just added this line right here that says assignments to be paid as follows. So this is if you're partnering, and then I just put the person's name and a dollar amount, and then my name and the dollar amount. So up here where it says a certain amount of money, so the assignment and the amount of, I put the $6,000 there. And then under here, I just add the line of assignment to be paid out as follows. And I just added that to a generic assignment of contract. Very, very simple. Again, I love assignment of contracts because they're so simple to do. I mean, honestly, the paperwork I can do when I'm not the smartest person in the world. So again, I love assignments of contract. That's a great way to get a deal done, to connect with somebody, to make things happen. All right. Another thing that I like to do sometimes when I'm doing a partnership deal that way, where maybe I have the property contracted and locked up and all of that, and then I'm going to, because it's only my name on the original contract, the title company or attorney has an issue with it being paid out a certain way. So what I've done to overcome that is I go to just Microsoft Office, like Microsoft Word, and they have millions of templates out there, right? So I go into their templates and I just use, just pull up an invoice template. I don't know if you can see that. I go to an invoice template like that. I put, my information and then, or put their information, and then my information here. And then what I do here is I put the address to the property. I put the date of closing, due upon closing. That's when the money's due. And then I call it marketing services, right? Because that's kind of what happens. So really, I got the deal locked up, correct? I got the deal locked up. I could have done the straightforward assignment of contract without her being involved. However, I put together an invoice like this from her to me, saying I need to give her $3,000, $1,000, whatever it is that we agreed upon for her marketing services. Because that's really what happened, right? I got a deal locked up. I could do the paperwork to do the assignment of contract, but I needed her to advertise to find a buyer, correct? So that's kind of how it works. So I pay her for her marketing services. And again, you can pull up any template that you want. Again, I'm a big fan of Microsoft Word because they're easy to use. I put the property address on it, put marketing services, and whatever the fee is that we agreed upon. Again, very, very simple. So again, that's 3 different ways to figure out the paperwork. Number 1 is add whoever your partner is going to be to the original purchase contract, and then use them again on the assignment of contract. Keep your own personal name or their own personal name on the purchase agreement. Whoever locked it up stays as the person that has it locked up. But then add to the assignment of contract, assignment to be paid out as follows, list the company and the amount, the company and the amount, or the individual and the amount, and the individual amount, okay? That's a good way. And then again, the title agent or attorney, whoever's handling the closing, can handle the paperwork that way. Or I use a simple invoice that I call for marketing services, where I put the difference of the fee. So again, if she wanted just the $1,000 and I want to keep the $5,000, the assignment would have been still $6,000. I would have kept $5,000, but then I also would have created an invoice to pay her $1,000 for marketing services. However, again, it's however you want to work it out, okay? And that's a great way. Some of you people that want to maybe do some things remote, where you have like somebody who's doing some boots on the ground, taking pictures, running around. That's what I do, is I just pay them again via an invoice, and I call it for marketing services, if that makes sense, okay? So another person that I'm very, very, very connected with, done a ton of deals with partnership-wise, is Carol Stinson. I know you all love Carol. I love Carol. I think she's a genius. I think she's an inspiration, and I think, gosh, we've had a lot of fun together. Her and I have done a handful of deals together. Once I got that relationship with that one hedge fund, I also got very good, or at least a lot more confident. That's one thing I'll tell you. Those of you that haven't done a deal yet, or have only done maybe 1 or 2, as you do deals, the more you get done, the more your confidence level comes up. The more you start skyrocketing, the easier it is for that enthusiasm. So sometimes, again, this is a Carol statement, you have to fake it until you make it. And what I mean by that is you need to put yourself out there. You need to at least be excited. Even if you haven't done anything yet, you need to be excited about what it is that you're learning. You need to be excited about the potential, and you need to let the world see that, because that's what makes things contagious. Well, Carol got really, really good when she started out at building a buyer's list. She had buyers upon buyers upon buyers upon buyers. And she was decent about going out and finding properties too. She had some good realtors that she partnered with and did things with and all that way, which was great. But one thing that I had learned after I kind of understood how that hedge fund handled things, I figured, well, banks are going to handle things the same way. So I spent a lot of time building relationships with small local banks in my own neighborhood, and then in other areas too, as I went to some of these remote markets. I sent letters, I ordered like coffee coupons, different things like that to kind of get asset managers' attentions. And again, I was able to build some relationships with some of these small local banks, because when Wells Fargo, when Bank of America, when Chase, when any of these companies has a foreclosure, I'm not happy about it, but I also think that they don't really even notice it because they have so many. They're such a huge company that one foreclosure doesn't make a huge difference. Whereas the small local bank, one foreclosure can do some severe damage to the asset balance of that bank. These small local banks, most of them didn't give a whole bunch of bad loans, but again, sometimes the economy itself was overinflated. So even though it was a decent loan, it turned into a bad loan because the economy fell so much, so substantially. So I started building relationships with some of these banks. And as I got properties, because I was working so hard at creating these relationships, Kara was also working hard at creating buyer relationships. So we tried to, wherever she had a buyer that was hungry for something, I'd start reaching out for banks. Or whenever I had a bank that was eager to work with me because I got a referral from somebody here or there, I told Carol to start working buyers in that area. And we were able to do a handful of deals. We did a deal in New York City, which I'm very, very, very proud of. Because part of the reason why we did that deal was some people had said that, well, it doesn't work in my area. It doesn't work in my area. That doesn't work here. Things don't work that way. And Carol and I are one of those that you should probably challenge us because, well, we're competitive. We want to prove that anything is possible. So I found a great deal in Howard Beach, outside of New York City, out by kind of JFK Airport. And she found a buyer, got under contract. We made a profit of $10,000, $5,000 each, and it was a sweet deal that we were both very proud of. Actually, just was down in earlier beginning of this month, meeting with a friend and actually teaching a boots on the ground class in Savannah, Georgia, which is a place I've always wanted to go. I read Mary Kay Andrews books, and they all kind of take place around there. So it was my first time going to Savannah, but it was really cool because I got to drive by a house that Carol and I did a wholesale deal on. She found the buyer, I found the property, and we were able to make a profit on that deal as well, which was just cool to be able to go and see a house that it was probably 3 or 4 years before that her and I had done the deal, but to actually drive by the house and stuff was pretty cool. So again, anything is possible. Again, have something to offer, make sure the relationship can be mutually beneficial. And one thing I was cautious on partnerships is partnerships should be something that motivates you. Like the example that I gave you at the gym, they shouldn't be, I'll give the same example, but we'll talk about a new diet, where you guys decide to do a diet together or Weight Watchers together or something like that. You're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. But then you guys use each other to do bad habits. Like, oh, well, since we're doing it together, we'll have a cheat day today, or we'll do make sure it's a positive relationship at all times, not a destructive one. And I don't mean having cheat days is destructive, but the reality is you need to make sure that you're both benefiting and moving forward from it. Don't use each other to spiral down, okay? In life, either spiral up or you spiral down. So make sure that you use your partnerships to bring each other up, make each other better. And that's really important in that department, okay? Okay. So another thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit as we go through this is private money. Private money is a great way to have a partnership, a money partner, right? Because you've probably heard that term. People throw it out like money partner, money partner. And you're like, well, what is a money partner? I don't really know what that means. And why money partner is important is again, you have to have something to offer. So, for example, let's say you've never ever done a deal. Never done a deal, learned some stuff, tried some things out, not even done a wholesale, okay? Never done a deal. But you want to see if somebody wants to give you money. Okay, it's probably not going to happen, right? You're going to have a heck of a presentation to get somebody to give you money. So if you don't have the funds yourself and you don't have the experience yourself, do some wholesale deals. I know you're probably tired of hearing people say this over and over and over again, but wholesale deals are super powerful for, number one, raising money for yourself, and number two, gaining knowledge, okay? The more wholesale deals you do, the more you realize where other people are putting their money, why they're putting their money there, how much they're willing to put somewhere. The more you understand about what they're doing with their money, the better protected you're going to be with your money or somebody else's money if you do get a money partner, okay? So that's priority one. Get some experience under your belt with minimal risk. If you don't know how to wholesale, there's so much stuff on this site about wholesaling that'll make you almost dizzy. But the one place that I recommend is definitely go to the library. Under library, it's 30 Days to Real Estate Cash. Read that book. And do not read that book like a novel. Read that book like it's a workbook. Read a chapter, take action. Read a chapter, take action. Read a chapter, take action, okay? So I really, 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 really want to make sure that you are getting the experience and knowledge. So again, you don't put yourself in a bad situation by taking on a risk or a deal that shouldn't be good, or risking somebody else's money too that you want to later have a relationship with, and you don't want to get yourself into any sort of issues that way. Okay. So let's say you got a little experience, you're getting some confidence. Maybe you want to do some more deals, or you want to go to the next level of deals. A lot of times you're going to need resources, and one of those biggest resources you're going to need, other than power team members, is going to be money, right? Funds. So the best way that I've found to ask for money is, okay, and let's just say money, I mean, this could be who are potential private money people? Friends, family, acquaintances, anybody, maybe people in your real estate investment club that want to get a little bit more hands-off with real estate, but they still want their money to grow. You know, there's lots of potential people that have funds, and these people might not be super wealthy people, but they might just be people that have a good retirement fund. You know, they got money sitting in an IRA that you could help them grow that, right? So the best way that I found, again, I'm competitive and I like to push for things, and I don't have any problem negotiating. However, I'm really not good about necessarily asking for help. I don't mind asking for more if somebody's already offered it, but I have a hard time asking for help. You know, I'm definitely one of those stubborn women that, you know, thinks I can do everything myself. So it's awkward to actually ask anybody for money. Money is a weird conversation to talk about, right? So I like to just say, you know, let's say we're in a casual environment, right? Let's say I'm at a barbecue. I do like to eat with friends a lot. So yes, I use barbecues a lot, but I like to eat with friends a lot. Speaking of which, David and Nicole Rhodes happen to be in Colorado this week, so I'm going up this weekend to hang out with them in Breckenridge. So again, I like to hang out with friends. Anyway, back to my story. So let's say I'm at a barbecue and, you know, conversation's still coming up about what are we up to, how are things going, how are the kids, all of that, right? Well, I like to throw out when, you know, somebody's asked me about how real estate's going, I say, well, actually, things are going great. Things are going better than great, that I'm actually have too many opportunities, you know, or, you know, some way spell it out that you've got, you know, lots and lots of good things happening, not that you're overwhelmed, but that too much great stuff is happening. And that actually you're looking for somebody that has some funds that they'd like to invest in real estate. So I usually present it as, hey, do you know anybody that's looking to invest in real estate? Somebody that's maybe looking for a good return on their investment, good return on their money, and have it backed or secured by real estate? If you know of anybody, let me know. And again, the way that I said that is, honestly, the person I may be asking may be the person that I'm actually targeting to get the money from. But by not putting them on the spot, it doesn't make them feel uncomfortable, and it doesn't make me feel weird or sleazy or anything like that for asking the question, right? So if if you happen to know of anybody that's looking to get a good return on their money and have their investment backed by real estate, I'd really love to talk to them. Here's my card, give me a call. The first couple of times I did that, I have to tell you, I gave the spiel, gave the card, and I pretty much created some sort of reason why I had to run to the other side of the barbecue and check on my little boy, because I couldn't believe I actually got it out, right? So it's going to be a little nerve-wracking. It happens, accept it, just keep powering through, because again, if you don't ask, they can't say yes. Okay, so once you have somebody who's interested in investing in a deal, number one, you need to find the deal, right? So assuming you have a deal that you'd really like to do and you need some funds for it, you find an investor and you have a deal. There's a handful of different ways that you can work the deal, but you're going to need two pieces of paperwork. One is a promissory note. A promissory note is pretty much just an agreement between you and the person that you're going to borrow the money from, stating the terms, meaning how much money they're going to give you, what interest rate you're going to pay them, and for how long they're going to give you the loan for. So let's say it's 9%, $50,000 for up to 6 months. So 9% annual, so that's 0.75% every single month. $50,000 they're going to give you, and then you're going to have their money for 6 months. You're like, I think I can be done by 3 months, but if it takes a while for the end buyer to close or for me to refinance or whatever the circumstance is going to be, I want to make sure I have 6 months, okay? So you're going to spell all that out with them. So a good promissory note. Now, promissory notes you can find just on Google search on the internet. There's tons of them out there. Again, I recommend if you're having anything done to have an attorney or somebody write up the promissory note. Sometimes even your closing attorney or your title company might have a promissory note that you can use. So reach out to those people on your power team for that. And the other thing that you're going to need is going to be a mortgage or a deed of trust. Now, this is for a secured private money loan. Now, if it's the first time somebody's lending you money, you want to make sure that it is secured to help them feel better. If you should fail on this deal, they should at least get the property, right? Especially if they paid for it, right? So what this is the document that gets filed at the county. And so I call it either a deed of trust or a mortgage. And it depends on what state you are in as to what they call it. But really what that is like if you got a loan from a bank, they put a mortgage or a deed of trust at the county saying, if you sell this property, this deed or this lien has to be paid off from the profits before you can take profits, okay? So again, that's something you don't necessarily have to do. Once you have a promissory note in place, you get that to the title agent or attorney that's handling the closing, and they can help you do the document, and they'll just add that to the closing documents and record that at the county, okay? And again, this is really important, again, especially if it's the first time you're working with this individual. They're going to want to know that their money is secured. Now, after you have a relationship, now again, you're probably tired of hearing me saying build relationships, build relationships, build relationships. That's what partnerships are. They're just good, healthy, productive relationships, right? So once you have a relationship with somebody, they might not need every single money recorded. They might have some sort of evolving credit. They're like, hey, I got $100,000 sitting in the account. Whatever you borrow, interest, but you don't have to do what you need every single time because I don't have time to do the paperwork or something like that. So again, that's just not going to happen out of the gates, though, okay? Also, another option you have is utilizing somebody's IRA. Now, the additional documentation that will be needed for an IRA, number one, will come from a self-directed IRA company. So if their IRA is currently in Merrill Lynch, Fidelity, Prudential, one of those big mutual fund type companies, they can't invest in real estate. They'll have to get transferred over to a self-directed IRA company. So again, that's something that you can look into if that should be an option. Again, do a simple search online, self-directed IRA companies, and they can help you out getting paperwork set up that way, or help your individual out getting things set up that way, okay? So, and then they'll probably have, every time that they lend money, they'll probably have additional documents that will need to be signed. So again, partnerships, hopefully through this whole discussion, you've realized that partnerships are truly beneficial. I mean, they really are. Number one, you can do more deals. Number two, you have relationships that will help you get things done that can help you grow your business. But again, one thing that a lot of you have been around for the last couple of years and heard me talk about several times before is just accountability buddies. Somebody that's going to keep you on track. Like I said, the person that is going to make you show up in the gym, the person that's going to ask you 2 weeks later when you say, hey, I'm going to put out 10 offers, they will ask you 2 weeks later, hey, did you get your 10 offers put out? Then you feel like crap if you didn't do it, and then you hopefully get motivated enough to do it. So again, accountability buddy, what I mean by that is somebody who will push you to be the better, best you that you can be. And number two, somebody that when things do go good, they celebrate with you. They know how hard you work. They know how awesome it is that you've achieved this, all right? Somebody that's going to help you celebrate. So for support and for the celebration, somebody who understands. And again, that going back to the REI clubs, again, that's a huge reason why I like to go to those, other than, you know, building my power team and keeping up to date with knowledge, is it keeps my enthusiasm up. To be surrounded by like-minded people, I mean, probably that's part of the reason why some of you guys get in the chats, right? I watch you guys talk back and forth. Hey, how's it going? How's this? How's that? You know, you guys know about each other's lives. And just being here every Tuesday or every other time that you guys get in the chat roll or communicate with each other gets your enthusiasm up again, or at least it should, right? Gets you remotivated. So what I want you to do is take that energy and make yourself a to-do list. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I just posted something on Facebook that is an article that I read where it talks about productive people. They go to bed early and get up early. They live every single day with purpose. So they know what they're going to do. Instead of just feeling like they're trying to catch up all the time, right? They live every day with purpose. And a good partner will help direct you to your purpose. They will give you the support. They'll give you the accountability, and they'll be there to help you do the little happy dance when things go well. So again, that's what I have prepared for you guys tonight. I'm going to flip over so I can see some of the questions. If you guys have questions, please let me know. I see one here that says, do you pay out the marketing fee at closing, or is it just as a business expense? Whatever possible, I try to always make any fees that I'm paying go through a title company or a closing attorney. And the reason why I like that, so this would be that marketing fee here that I talked about. The reason why I always try to do that at closing is it's just easier for me, you know, it'll actually on the HUD say that I didn't make all of that money. Some of that money went to somebody else. It actually shows exactly what my profit is from it, which is huge. Because again, for accounting purposes, anytime you pay anybody, I believe, and I don't quote me on this because I'm not an accountant, but I believe anytime you pay somebody more than $600, you have to do a 1099 form or get a W-9 filled out for them or their company, and then have your accountants put in a notice to the IRS that you paid them, and so they get 1099. And again, I am not great at the bookkeeping thing, so whenever I can run the paperwork through a title company or an attorney and have it show up on that HUD settlement statement, that helps me so much more. So that's how I always try to do. And then also, whatever that fee is tied to the actual property too. So there's actual expenses tied to that actual income as well. So it helps keep track of things a little bit better. Again, that's what works for me, again, for clean lines and all that. So what other questions does anybody have? And I'm sorry that the audio is not working all that well. It looks like it's fine on my end, so I'm not really sure why it's not going through well. So again, I apologize. Again, networking is huge. Whenever you have the opportunity to network with other people, to grow yourself, grow your business, all of that, definitely take advantage of it. If a relationship doesn't seem to be beneficial, then sometimes it's fine to move on. You don't have to keep going through a relationship that's not beneficial. But the reality is, make sure that you are definitely reaching out to people who are trying to grow your business. A couple of the questions that they asked was, I'm just kind of scrolling through some of the other questions. Can you assign contracts when buying from HUD? Anytime there's a third party involved, meaning a bank, government, anybody like that, almost always you can't do an assignment of contract. You'll have to do a double closing. So what you'll need to do for a double closing is do a second purchase contract with your buyer. So from the A to B is you from HUD, and then from the B to C will be you to your buyer. Now again, if there is a partner that can do that, you can either do the marketing fee or you can add them to one of the contracts, and that should help you. Okay. Any other questions? I laugh. I always think, gosh, I hope I have enough to talk about. You know, I don't know what all I'm going to cover. You know, and I don't know what I'm going to say. And apparently, I am a chatty Cathy. I always seem to fill up more time than I originally thought. However, talking's a little bit easier than typing. I was not the fastest typer in the world when we had the old school chat. So, honestly, it's just go to Microsoft Word and or even just go to Google for the template. Go to Google and just type invoice. I mean, that's all it is. I don't even know how to actually post a copy of it. It's just an invoice that you can get off of the internet. So honestly, if you just type Google, it works really. Go to Google and type invoice templates, and something will pop up. What is the best type of accountant to use as a partner for billing and tracking transactions? I don't know exactly what you're asking. Is it for like to track who's doing what, or are you trying to track who's paying for what? Or for me, usually it's for me, anytime I'm working with a partner, I try to make sure that they know what their role is and I know what my role is. I mean, like I said, it doesn't always have to be exactly equal partnership, but you need to make sure that everybody knows what their role is. Everybody should have a design position. So it's definitely going to depend on your relationship with them as who it is. So I don't exactly track activities, but if they're not doing what they said they're going to do, hopefully I will find somebody else too. And again, if I have a good, healthy relationship with them, they don't want to let me down either, just like they could potentially, if they were doing it on their own, let themselves down. What is the average interest rate you pay your private money lenders? It depends. If at all possible, I try to pay 6%. 6% is 0.5% a month, which is pretty good money. Sometimes I'll pay somebody some points. Again, it kind of depends on what their needs are. Some people, the most I've ever paid anybody is 12%. I've paid a handful of people. My brother's one of the people that I pay 12%. Frankly, he can use the money, and it's better that I have his money and him not have his money. So I pay my brother 12% on his money. So it depends on who it is. I have another partner where IRA money has to be at an arm's length transaction. So if it's lending to do a fix and flip or something like that, I can't use my own IRA money. So I lend my IRA money to this investor that's a friend of mine, and they lend their IRA money to me. So we kind of do an exchange. So we have it set up that we pay each other 12%. So we're both growing in our investment funds, and we're both getting deals done, but we don't charge any points or anything like that. So again, it varies. I'd say anywhere from 6% to 12%. Now, Gina would tell you don't ever pay more than you have to. Mine, again, if it's mutually beneficial and they can get their money to me quickly and easily, I'm happy to pay 12%. So it depends. Can you make more money on a double close or wholesale? Okay, so first question here is, can you make more money on a double close or a wholesale deal? A double close is a form of wholesaling. Wholesaling is pretty much you find a deal and you pass the deal along to anybody else. That is what wholesaling is. Now, there's 3 strategies under wholesaling, which is bird dogging, or you just refer a deal to somebody. You get paid a referral fee, a marketing fee, or a bird dog fee, however you want to call it. You're kind of a property locator. There's assignment of contract, where you assign the rights to a contract that you have locked up to somebody, or you do a double close, which you do for either if you're going to make a big profit because it is somewhat hidden, the funds, the profit, or if there's a third party involved. So they're all wholesales. Usually double closes, it's easier to make more money because, again, the profits are hidden than on an assignment or a bird dog fee. A bird dog fee is usually the least because you usually didn't do any negotiating or anything. You just pointed out a property and then the investor did a majority of the work. So do I use virtual assistants? You know, I don't. I should. I am like the most obnoxious planner, organizer in the world. Like, seriously, I have everything planned out in my life, like what I'm going to do each day. Like, I live and die by my planner. So I am uber efficient. I have multiple fix and flips, and because of my partnerships, like I have 2 fix and flips going right now that I don't even think I could tell you the addresses for the property because Jeff and Melissa Heflin are managing it for me because they're my partners and they're amazing and they're doing a great job. And honestly, I don't think one of them's 13th something on 13th and the other one's Jefferson. But I couldn't tell you the street number, even the town that they're in. So again, I have people that I just follow up with. So I manage people, I manage relationships. I don't have to manage a lot of the work. And some of the little work I kind of enjoy doing. when my little boy graduates and goes to college in like 7 years, I'll definitely probably want more assistance and more help. And I can probably do a lot more. I'm not doing anything crazy like Matt Larson's doing. But you know what? I'm making great money for myself. One thing that I like to talk about sometimes is the difference between a goal-oriented investor where you always got to do more, bigger, faster, stronger. Frankly, I would love to have more money. But what I like to consider myself as a lifestyle investor, somebody who wants to work really hard to achieve what I want, enjoy the life that I want, and have the time that I want. And so honestly, it's rare that I ever spend more than 4 or 5 hours ever on my real estate investing during the day. And there's plenty of days where I do nothing more than check my email. I mean, I actually closed on 2 properties through partners while I was on a cruise at the end of the month in January. And again, I checked emails a couple of times on the trip to make sure everything went well. But I got powers of attorney for people that I trust, and they help make it happen. So again, I haven't had to use virtual assistants because I have relationships with investors that are already happy to work with me and crushing it. So they take their profit, I take my profit, and we haven't had to. So anything else that I can help you with? Any other questions? Again, relationships is the key to partnerships. Make sure you have something to offer, but make sure that you're going to have a beneficial relationships from the group, and definitely you just keep after it. I know, especially those of you that are starting out new, it's more discouraging than it is exciting sometimes up front, or more frustrating at least, but it's definitely worth it, and you just have to power through. I mean, it's just like anything else. It's kind of survival of the fittest. I mean, those that are resilient enough to power through the frustrations are going to be the most successful. And as you succeed, as you move forward, it's easier to build those relationships with people and have those partnerships and be able to grow your business. So definitely keep after it. If there's no other questions, I should probably sign off so I can go check on my family. One other question: can I double close with no money myself? Potentially yes. Double closings, you can still do it just like you would do an assignment. However, it's a second contract. So you might have to come up with earnest money, or you might have to have the end buyer put up earnest money for you. And there is transactional funding, things like that you're going to have to go through. Again, I really recommend you spend some time reading about double closes. There's all kinds of blogs, information, books, all kinds of stuff on this site about how to do a double close. So definitely read further into it. Make sure you have the right people on your team, including a good attorney or anybody else. And for the record, Jeff Heflin is on here, and frankly, he is the man. Him and Melissa definitely make my life easy, so I appreciate them greatly too. So, but yeah, I mean, invest some time and knowledge into all that. Get a realtor that will help you. Get another partner that will help you. Or get an attorney or a title company that will help you with that. And that can definitely help you make it happen. So, anything else? Yeah, and then there's Donna Dew. She's amazing. I think I still owe her a drink from a couple Super Bowls ago. So, anyway, have I partnered on a buy and hold? Funny story. The only person I've ever partnered on a buy and hold with, other than partner to get the deal, again, Jen Gray, Jeff and Melissa, Nate Armstrong, Matt Larson, and several other people have brought me deals that I've kept for buy and hold, so I've partnered on it that way. The only property that I've actually owned as a partnership on a buy and hold was with Dean Graziosi himself, and it was fine, but the paperwork, all that was a nightmare. That as soon as the economy got better, we sold off the property, and it's just easier for us to build our empire with just Chip and I for actual holding properties. So, anything else? Again, I apologize to you that had trouble with the hearing and the connection and all that. Hopefully, the replay's much better. And again, I really appreciate you guys spending the time, and I definitely look forward to talking to you all soon. All right, guys, have a wonderful evening.